Hello, pocket knife community, knife lovers, knife enthusiasts, interested viewers. Boulder here. I want to do an overview on the GiantMouse Ace Corta. Ace Corta, I like that name. Cool name. It's it's a knife in the Ace line of knives by GiantMouse. What knife is this? What GM knife is this modeled after? Let's see. Oh, the 6. Yeah, okay. So this knife is modeled after the GiantMouse GM6. So if you don't know what GiantMouse does, is they make a GM, which is a high-end knife or a higher-end knife than this, and they make one of those knives, and then they mass produce them. Well, they make them and they make a limited run, and then they mass produce them in their Ace line, which this is, and it's similar, but it'll have a little bit lesser materials, a little bit, materials that are a little bit more cost friendly to allow the price to be more reasonable than something extremely high. These knives are under $200. And this particular knife, the Corta, is one of those knives that's, definitely worth every penny of it. This is manufactured by Riyadh Knives. Riyadh, if you don't know, is a custom knife maker out of Guangdong, China, and they contract through manufacturers contract them to make their knives. So they make a lot of knives for a lot of and they're known for their fit and finish. They're known for their high end attention to detail and stuff like that. How good the knives are, like that, from them. So all right, so let's see here. Let's get into this knife here. The GM, no, not the GM line, the Ace line. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna take this right from the site. 7.3. So we got a 7.3-inch knife. That's the total length. Blade is 3.1, and about a 3.1 cutting surface. Because as you can see, where the handle ends and the cutting surface begins, it's real close. So it's right there. The handle is 4.1 inches. We got a beautiful drop point blade. It almost looks completely flat, but it's not. If you turn it upside down here, you can see that it does start to drop a few millimeters past the flats. So you got the flats here, right? So right about here, it starts to actually drop. Very hard to see without putting it up against a flat surface, but it is a drop point, and it weighs 4.1. No, yes, 4.1 ounces. Yeah. I like this knife. This knife is a this is one of those knives that's it's just no it's not a lot of fanfare. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of fanfare with this knife. It's not a lot of just huge it's one of those knives that could fall under the radar. You know what I mean? Yeah, in the GiantMouse line. As unique as the blade looks, because it has a very, very pointy geometry, but it's just one of those, like whatever. The steel is Bola M390 microclean steel. Excellent steel. If you're not familiar with M390, good all-around steel, very good. And the liners are stainless steel. GiantMouse uses stainless steel liners to keep the cost down. It's another thing that keeps the cost down. Instead of using titanium down here, they use stainless. It's a flipper. and flipper only. It only has one form of deployment, the flipper tab. And you're not getting anything out of this without hitting that flipper. This is not a fidget toy. Yeah, this knife is not a fidget toy. It doesn't drop shut. It only has the flipper tab. You know, it is just pure business. If you want a very good cutter, something for piercing and then cutting, you breaking down boxes, right down. Yeah, this is really good. All right, so let's do some comparisons really quick. We know it's 7.1 inches because, excuse me, I'm sorry, 7.3 inches, right? But sometimes we need comparisons so we know what 7.3 looks like, all right? So here it is next to the Manix 2, the Spyderco Manix 2, my Curanite Manix 2, all right? So it's 7.3, 8 inches. So the way I categorize knives are from 7 to 8 inches is a medium-sized knife. Once you hit 8, you're in the high end. You're starting towards the high end. But anything below 8 inches is a medium-sized knife. Anything below 7 inches is a small knife. And then of course it gets really small, and then it can get really big too. Above 8 1/4, 8.5 inches, it gets to be a huge knife. But the Manix 2 is an 8-inch knife, almost exactly 8 inches. And yeah, it's one of the reasons why. I also brought this out because I wanted the viewers to see how much taller the Manix 2 is in this. So the Manix fits in my pocket, no problem, but it's a very tall knife. This is 1.1 inches. The Manix is much taller. So this will sit, oh yeah, it has a reversible pocket clip. This will sit really nice in the pocket. You know, I don't have a clean rag. I guess I can use this. What difference does it make, right? But yeah, man. See that right there? Whoa. That's really deep down in there. Okay. Yeah. That's deep down in there. So, yeah, but that's it up against the Manix. Okay, let's see it next to a PM2. You know, the Manix and the PM2 are almost identical. PM2 is a little bit longer knife, just overall, a little bit more reach. Ironically, these knives have almost exactly the same cutting edge. Look at the cutting edge. It's very, very, very close. That's interesting. Where the Manix, where the PM2 outreaches it is in the extremely long handle of the PM2. So yeah, that's what it. Okay, so and one more comparison, the AD 20.5. Yeah. So all you 20.5 people out there that don't have an Ace Corta, this is what it looks like next to a 20.5. 20.5 is actually, so this 20.5 is not a big knife at all, and then this knife is smaller than a 20.5. Yeah. So yeah, it's small, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm getting 3.5 on here. I have big hands, but I'm getting 3.5. Maybe a little bit more than 3.5, just a little bit more. Not really. And it feels good. It feels good. GiantMouse tends to make their knives a little thicker, a little wider. That width is what brings about, if it's a little shorter, that width helps to give that full feeling in your hand. So let's just talk about the knife a little bit. We got like I said, a beautiful drop point blade, very, very pointy geometry. Drops a little bit past the flats right about here. It's a crowned spine, you know, typical of GiantMouse, and it's got some jimping that I'm not a big fan of the jimping of GiantMouse. You know, for me, this jimping feels more like just like an indicator. Like when you slide your finger on the jimping, it just lets you know where it is. Maybe that's a focal point. So if you're doing push cuts, you know where the optimal point for your thumb is. But for me, This jimping is not. I feel that jimping should should offer significant traction without being abrasive. That's just my opinion of jimping. Spyderco does it better than anybody. Their jimping is always when you push forward on that jimp. When you push in this fashion, and you push down on that jimping, it stops you. You literally cannot push through the jimping on a Spyderco. But it doesn't hurt. So I just have not found a company that does jimping better than Spyderco. They just do not. Especially the PM2 with this crazy ramp anyway. It has a crazy ramp, and then it also has excellent jimping. Excellent jimping. I mean, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. GiantMouse does not. Their GiantMouse, to me, their jimping is more aesthetics. It just looks so premium. GiantMouse. Their jimping just looks so sophisticated, and it just really looks good. So for me, GiantMouse jimping is aesthetics and for finger location. Helps with if you're cutting stuff and you're moving your finger back and forth, it helps so you know where your finger is on the blade. Right? It doesn't really stop your forward motion. They're jimping. So anyway, all right, let's keep going. Crown spine. It's got these vertical lines on the blade, on this absolutely drop dead gorgeous satin blade, vertical lines, and then it's got some horizontal ones that are much more fine on the flats. Matter of fact, you could hardly see them. It's got a sharpening choil that is excellent. Plunge grind, and the where it terminates is absolutely exactly where it's supposed to be. Flipper tab, finger guard / finger guard is very minimal. See how it actually sticks out from the top is very minimal, but it's at an optimal angle, and the amount of traction on here is pretty good. They put it on the front and back, so it's definitely pretty good. This thing will not fall shut. It will not. You have to push it shut. I tuned it to see if I can get it to fall shut, and it's just not. The action's just not like that on this knife, but that's fine. It doesn't have enough weight on the blade, and it's just not, it's the way it's set up. It's just not designed for that. You're not gonna get a lot of a lot of play with that. It comes in 3 different versions. The one you see right here is natural micarta with the satin blade. It also comes in green canvas micarta with a stone finish blade, and then it also comes in a blackout version, all black G10 black PVD coated blade. So that's a variety actually. You got the natural micarta with the satin, you got the stone finish with the green, and then you got black. So you can really take your pick, or if you're you can get them all, right? Or take your pick, Yeah. So the handle is it's got a brass backspacer that's huge, and an integral lanyard hole that actually goes right through the backspacer and the G10. I mean the micarta. The ergos on this are very nice. You do not feel the pocket clip in hand. It feels really good. The ergos are very neutral ergos, and very good, very conducive to push cuts. Also detailed cuts with a pinch grip. Very nice also. Yeah, it's a tool. This is purely a utilitarian tool. EDC, excellent. On the clip side, on the show side, there is no branding at all. On the clip side, it says Ace M390. It has a 2-way pocket clip, wire pocket clip, a la Spyderco. Real nice. Just does it well. Do I have my screws? Oh yeah, I do. Okay. We're looking at T6s. Looks like over there. T6s, I believe. They look like T6s. Wait. Oh. Really? They're not T6s? Could these be 8s? Wow, they are. Okay, so that's pretty crazy. Man. Yeah, I don't know if that's a Riot thing or if it's a GiantMouse thing, but they literally have T8s throughout. Man, that is so fantastic. GiantMouse, thank you. GiantMouse, if you're watching my video, thank you. Yeah, thanks. That's nice. That is excellent. So T8's back here. T8's in the back. Man, I'm just real excited about that. So yeah, so this is more user friendly, man, for guys that want to take these things apart, or for someone that wants to take this apart, and you just use one Torx T8, and you got the higher Torx in the back, so you don't have to worry about stripping as much. Fantastic. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Nice knife. Nice knife. You know, it has pretty good access to the lock bar. They unlike the Ace Grand, they did curve up the handle to give you access. Which is very good. The blade is centered. Yeah. I hate to sound like this fanboy again, but I don't have any complaints about this knife. I really don't. It's not trying to be something it's not. It's just very competent, very well made cutting tool. That's it. It's not trying to be the baddest knife on the block. It's not trying to be the biggest. It's not trying to be the smallest. It's just, if you're looking for, if you work in an industry where you're breaking down boxes and like in grocery stores and stuff and warehouses and stuff, and you want to buy a knife that's fantastic for that, this is it. I mean, M390, really good steel. The geometry of this blade is excellent. Yeah, it's just a very, very, very good tool. Very competent. If I had any complaints, I mean, nah. I mean, for what it is, I'm not even complaining about the jimping that doesn't work. Because to me, it's an indicator. It's not even jimping to me. So yeah, no, it's good. Very, very good. Under $200. Look at it. So, all right, that's all I got.